Black Mutualist, welcome back to the show.
What's up? What's up, bro? It's good to be back. It's been long awaited, man. I've been missing you on the DMs and on X and shit, man. I should have been done it.
Yeah. Well, whatever, man. The universe has its own timing. So here we are today, ready to chop it up a little bit about a different topic. Last time, for those who didn't see that episode, go check it out if you haven't. We discussed things like mutualism, libertarianism in general. We got into Proudhon a little bit. And then we got to aliens, man. That was the weirdest episode I've ever had. It's like a half and half Z. And I love you, dude. Like you are an independent thinker, heterodox person, not always going with the grain, man.
For
And
sure.
I dig that. I love different points of view, man.
For sure.
We wanted to talk about the ultimate questions. So we're sort of
Yeah.
we put a pin in this to talk about God, religion, the simple stuff.
Right, for sure. And I love your discussions because you're clearly a philosopher. You're clearly someone that what? Oh my goodness. Okay, my Steam thing came up. But yeah, you're clearly someone that loves like the deeper discussions, and you're also hetero. What do you call it?
Heterodox. That's the opposite of
Heterodox.
orthodox. For those who aren't aware, don't want to pull out a thesaurus or dictionary.
Yeah, you're also heterodox. Because you almost make it a rule. You're like, I'm not even about to vote. I'm not even about to participate in the political. I'll tell people all the time, like, a lot of these choices you got, they're false choices. They're
Yeah,
illusions. A lot of stuff,
illusions of choice.
exactly, they're illusions. And I'm at least like, let's make lemons out of lemonade. Let's take what we got. Let's move from there. You're like, nope, the lemons are illusions too.
Yeah, man. I love the saying that if voting changed anything, they'd make it illegal, and I believe that.
you know, it's crazy because I feel like maybe like a couple years ago I would have been like, no, that's absolutely crazy. I will say that it's close. I think it's closer to the truth than not. In that, when we think about politics and stuff, a lot of people say, "Well, if you want to change something, do this." Okay, let's say you get your best case scenario. You're a Donald Trump voter. Your dude just won, and yet your same dude, like him or not, it's not just people that are you thought that you had the power of the people on your side, and you can argue that you did have the power of the people on your side because you won a Democratic vote. But now people are being appointed. Non-elected officials and people of that nature are now enacting control on your dude, on Trump, who's the president. He ain't even got in yet. And already, I'm not even saying I want his stuff to go through, but I'm saying you already see right now, before he even gets in, there are constraints even on your guy. So even with the little crumb, you could call presidency, even with the crumbs they give us, and even when there's something that makes a great change, even when there's something where we do like, come together and we find like a flaw to exploit, like the GameStop stuff. When that happens, what happens? They're very quick to crack. They make laws quicker. They come together quicker than you've ever seen them do it before. So
And that exactly right, and that shows you very clearly in a demonstrable way who they work for, and it ain't you.
I think. Well, let me say this. There's a lot of I think relative. Well, let me relative. Yes, relatively. I think there are a lot of people that are fighting for good. I think there's more people on the side of good that are willing to be on the side of what we would call good, right? Than not. I think that a small percentage of people have power, notoriety, broadcasting ability, and lawmaking control. And so I feel like there's definitely some people that's in almost every level of government, everywhere probably, fighting what we call the good fight. And whatever good stuff we end up getting from government, whatever positives we can derive from that, that's probably a result of those people that have, over the course of time, been fighting that fight, right? There's just another side and that other side, they already were set up. we're attacking that side, but that side's already set up. They've already got their defenses. They've already got their system set up, and our job is to kind of take over there. So it looks like it's tough, and maybe it can't be done through there. But I truly do believe that most people, there's more of us that are at least willing to, even if we don't say the side of good, more of us that's willing to at least say, hey, wait a minute, look, like we actually monkeys together strong. That's really it.
You didn't do the Simpsons reference? That's the other one. Have you seen that one?
No, which one is that?
Oh, the Millhouse when they're camping and no, maybe it wasn't Millhouse. It was Nelson, I think. Together we form a mighty faggot. Like the big old thing of sticks and
That's so fucking crazy. That's
the other one.
That's actually supposed to be like the concept of a bundle of sticks. Like,
Yeah.
like you can't break. So it's so funny. Like it actually works though. Like it's fictionarily true. Like
Yeah, I love that meme. That's hilarious, man. I try not to get myself in too much trouble here, but yeah, I mean, could you give me an example though? Like, I agree. Like, I'm not completely black pilled. I'm not like thinking everybody is out there completely corrupt that's in government at all levels and they only want the worst. I think a lot of people, I look at this very similar to military service, right? I think a lot of people are indoctrinated from a very young age. I mean, think about it. You're 5 years old, you stand and you're chanting these magic words to the cloth up in the sky, and you're like, and everything is, from the time you enter school, you have this indoctrination rammed down your throat that the United States is the greatest country, doesn't do anything wrong, and that military service is valiant, and thank you for your service, and all this like falling all over ourselves about veterans and military members and all that stuff. Meanwhile, these folks enter with that propagandized mindset, and they're thinking they're doing the right thing. And then they suddenly, I'm one of these people, by the way. Like, I was Captain fucking America when I joined the military. I had a family that came from that tradition, even been in the Vietnam War, still loved their service and all that shit. And I got in and all of a sudden realizing, like, whoa, this is not, the reality of it is something a little different. And even if you have the best intentions, once you get part of a corrupt system, things go really sideways in a hurry. And so
right.
I don't want to be super black pill, but I wanted to know, like, can you give me an example of some situation where you think like somebody's in the government some level and they're actually doing a good thing? Like, I mean, I can think of like one guy out of all the people I know in the whole world that's, I'm kind of like, like Thomas Massey's like pretty dope. Like, that guy actually seems like a decent human being trying to do the right thing. And before that, I saw Ron Paul. Like, there's like two people.
So, and this kind of branches into the greater discussion, right? Like, part of what I've come to learn and believe is that in actuality, God is all around. We live in God in forms of in the reality that we observe, and God's in everybody, right? So you can find a little bit of God, a little bit of good in everything, right? That doesn't mean that someone's going to be good 24/7. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't trust that a human's going to do that. You don't trust that God, the universe, the creator is going to do that. A human being is never going to be good 24/7, period. Me, you, whoever, right? And so it's a group project, right? It's a group project by all of humanity. I think that even if you don't point to one person doing one good thing, and even if a person tries to do something and you think it might be out of bad intentions, like, okay, a lot of people don't like Donald Trump. A lot of people hated Donald Trump during COVID, and they hated what he did on both sides. Despite that fact, they willingly took that stimulus check that he signed. They love the stimulus check. They love the laws, some of the PPP loans and stuff, and all the changes that were made. They like that, like them or not. There's many other things that you can say that you cannot like Donald Trump, but I talk to people all the time, and I'm like, I disagree with a lot of things Donald Trump does, but almost everybody agrees the man's funny.
That's for sure.
The man, he's pretty funny, bro. Like, honestly, like it's just how it is. That's part of the good in him. That's part of the good you can find in anybody, where you can be like, you know what, man, this person, I don't like them. I don't like their control they have, the power. I don't want them to be in control of decisions. But it's one of those things, almost like how you can't explain God. It's like, I can't explain it, but man, he makes me laugh. And there's so, and this kind of gets to an existential thing. You might like it. There's so little things, or maybe not. Maybe not say that. There's so many other things in the world that don't make us laugh, that make us angry, that encourage anger, that encourage division, that don't do things like laughter and the things that bring us together. And for there to even be something like a person, like a president, who is so polarizing, that can make both sides still find humor, that's something very good. And that's like, it's small, right? But that's just an example of, you can find, even in the people you dislike the most, the sparks of light in them. And that means that that person is capable of doing good and bad.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. But we went past some definitions. And I think the definitions are really important. So,
Right,
what do
like
you
good and bad.
mean? No, let's not even go there. What do you mean by God, first of all?
Well, God is, to me at least, my understanding at this point now, is the reality itself is God. And there's an energy that kind of, I thought about it today, and I thought about the fact someone said that, I saw a video and they said God speaks in frequencies. And I have come to kind of align myself with this energetic quantum, dimension, spanning God, almost, right? This kind of all encompassing thing, right? When we think about things that we have proof for now, like parallel universes, quantum
I
computing to
think
present.
proof is a little bit of a strong claim. I think there's suggestions. There's some. I think Google's new quantum
Yeah,
computer.
that's it. That proves it.
Oh, but well, yeah, but that's a claim. That's a claim. Let me. Just because a corporation makes a claim doesn't mean that it maps onto objective reality, man. Like,
From what I have researched myself, I'm just, I'm on YouTube and Google and Internet University here. But from what I've seen, I think there's a large amount of evidence, and a lot of people, very respected people, knowledgeable people, affirm multiverses, or multiple universes.
it's a plausible hypothesis, man. I think that
There's lots of evidence for it.
sure, but like I'm an empirical dude. Like I want to know, I have some solid grounding behind anything that I fully believe. But that's okay. So we're talking about God, but you haven't
Right.
really defined it for me, other than. And this is what I have trouble with when people try to talk about God. And by the way, of course, it's like a concept that is so
Right.
large and so difficult to explain. Words sort of fail, becomes ineffable at some point, and people are just doing their best guess. But what I struggle with is people say a lot of this shit. They're like, it's quantum, it's it's everything, it's outside of time, and they make all these claims that you can't validate in any way at all, right? And so I struggle to understand and conceptualize what people even mean when they say God, because I'm kind of more prone to the idea. It's more attractive to me, this sort of pantheist view, which is like God is like everything, the
Oh,
universe,
yeah.
right? Like so
That's
we are all, instead of being
Yes.
discrete individual beings, like everything in the entire universe is part of God, right? And so
Right. Exactly.
and consciousness somehow is fundamental. I think Sir Roger Penrose has done a lot of good work on consciousness, and he makes the claim that consciousness is fundamental, and
Would
so
you
it
believe
might
that's
not
all
be.
in the Torah?
What's that?
Would you believe that's all in the Torah? That's all in the Tanakh. That's
I don't. I don't know.
Wait.
I'm not a religious dude, man. That's why
Yeah.
I'm asking you. You seem to be more read on some of this stuff than I do. So I wanted to ask you, man. What do you
No,
think?
so it's the same thing, right? So in Kabbalah, that you're like a panpsychist almost, right? It's in the same thing, right? Where you're like the same thing. Not only is they say God is Hamakom, the place or space, but also God is I am, I am, I was, I will be. So that's time, space, and time is reality. They say it many other ways. They say that, God is my dwelling place, or my refuge, or my refuge, your dwelling place, right? And that's all in the Hebrew Bible. So I'd say, like, and that's the beautiful thing, right? And another thing that Kabbalah teaches you is that there's many paths to God. You can see God in so many different ways. You don't have to read a book. You don't have to study deeply. The same way, it was beautiful when you said that you went to the military, and that's where you saw, oh my God, this is all fake, right? Me, I didn't go to the military. I have family members that did, but my main thing was from philosophy. from study, from history, from putting pieces together and kind of just being blessed and being like, oh wow, all these things are connected and tied and they're placed before us, right? Um, and it's the same thing, right? King Solomon says that wisdom, that's what you say conscious. That's what we say consciousness is. Wisdom itself is a creation of God, and it was made by God. And it sort of permeates all things, right? When we pull an idea down, it's from that wisdom, sort of. Um, and a lot of the things that I say, you might say like, wow, like that really, coincides with this that I heard in this philosophy or this that I already believe. And that can be taken one of two ways. It can be taken as one, the Kabbalists were right in that, or anybody really, no, and the people that have felt a creator, a oneness, this God, anything we call, they say God has 70 names, more names than that in the expand, like the New Testament, but 70 names at least in the Tanakh. And so that's just to signify that people have described this energy, this feeling, that is intuitive to us as humans, intuitive that we can feel. But this is so funny, right? Because you say that you also you're like, oh, I kind of feel like God's and everything, but being an empirical person, this is something that humans can feel but can't measure with scientific measurements.
Totally, I get that, right? But also we have to be honest, right? So human intuitions are often wrong. I can think of like 700 examples off the top of my head where things that we intuit, things that we feel, actually don't map onto objective reality at all. We're just wrong. We make
Right.
mistakes all the time,
So do
right? So
computers, and so do scientific instruments.
they do, and that's an interesting discussion too. How well can we actually know anything about objective reality, right? Our sense data, like your senses, your vision, your hearing is different than mine, right?
Right.
We're all off a little bit, and we are. And if you know how it works, is that we're essentially hallucinating a version of reality, right? Like so, that's the way our senses
Yes,
work. We
yes.
build this map, and it's not exactly reality. It's our best,
We take an amalgamation of signals in a way, and those signals come together. I can tell you tripped before, because I had
Yes,
that's
yes, I have.
that's the vision. I had a vision like last year, and it was maybe the first time I tripped at a concert, and that was the vision. I saw it was, that's the first time I was like, I saw what we might call God, except I tried to look, and I'm. It's so crazy. This is the first time I ever really spoke about this out loud, but like I kind of I've heard and I enjoy that I'm able to process information really fast, right? So I saw that, I saw the disillusion of these layers into pure data, and I thinking, oh, I'm about to find the source of this. I'm about to see what this is. I tried to look towards the source of the data. As I did so, it was like a computer when you just load it too much and it starts freezing. I couldn't look at the center because it was simply too much, and I had to look away. I could still hear it. I could still feel God, but I couldn't really see. It was too much to see it, and my brain saw that. And as I came back from the vision, it was like it was like I saw all the layers kind of come back together. And we see these things scientifically with cymatics, with frequencies and things like that. We see that different frequencies alter reality itself, alter solid forms, alter energy. And E equals MC squared. Like energy is mass. Like mass is energy. They're equal. They can convert into each other. And we're mostly empty space. We're made of atoms. Atoms are empty space. Like you said, like in reality, nothing's here. And we can't even justify with our science that things are here. But our human intuition says I'm here, you're here, we're separate. You know? I think that one thing, and this is something that came in my head, was that I think that what we tend to forget is that as products of God and evolution and these processes that we can verify as human beings, we have to realize that we're technological instruments as well. Our brains and our bodies are also technological instruments that have actually been in development far longer than anything we've created, and anything we've created is based on us, what we know we're capable
Right,
of.
but why though? Like what is the primary development mechanism, and what does it give us? Like why have we evolved the way that we've evolved?
Well, chaos theory would tell you that, well, not even chaos theory would tell you that. Entropy would tell you that there are a total possible number of states for any given system, whether that system's
Yeah,
a
a closed system.
being, right. So there's a total possible number of states, right? And the way that energy kind of, the way that almost everything in the universe seems to flow is the path of least resistance. So it's almost like energy, life, consciousness, atoms, whatever, want to survive, and they find a path to do so. So in science, they say that it's really possible that rather than there be, people say, this, and this tell you like I really looked for other arguments, because the other argument to, oh my god, this life is so wonderful, this universe is so wonderful, it has to be a design, is that simply it had to be this way. There's no other way reality could have organized itself. There's no other way life organizes itself other than the way that it works, which is just this.
Right. My point, though, is that we've been evolving. You're right. Like this is a super important point for billions of years of unbroken chain of evolution to get us to where we're at. But the reason that we have evolved this way and survived, or sorry, and then we have developed into what we are is because we survived. Right. So everything else that did not, have the
Right.
appropriate
And
characteristics
that's actually how evolution works. A lot of people don't know that you don't just choose. It's actually literally just what works, what doesn't, what dies,
right.
what leads, what continues, what doesn't.
But it's important to know this is where I get back to the point about our intuitions, right? So there's a lot of programs that run inside of our bodies and brains that exist only so we make new copies. That's all your genes care about is propagating into the future. It will trick you. It will give you all. I mean, like for example, here's one I talk about a lot is R versus K sexual selection. You heard of that before? Yeah, so everybody has got two sets of encoded programs, essentially. This is called epigenetics. You heard of
Oh
epigenetics before?
yeah, I love that. Yes,
Yeah. So you have switches that get turned on and off by your environment, right? And
yes,
so and so we have both of them encoded in our DNA, and then your environment says which one am I going to activate. And so think about like rabbits, right? So you're going to
yeah,
make as many copies as you can as quickly as you can. Most of them are going to die, but hopefully some of them make it
right.
old enough to reproduce. That's your strategy, right? And that's typically in very dangerous environments, right? So your genes are saying like, hey, I've lived through all this shit.
Yeah,
There's danger everywhere. You
yeah.
better hurry up and crap out a bunch of kids and hope some of them survive because
Those
that's
those those negative effects, by the way, I love that you looked into that, because I also have been looking into this as part of just my search for the answer. Those negative effects, they actually say most of them can be gone by the second or third generation. If there's no negative effect, if basically we heal ourselves or we remove ourselves from that bad stimulus, the next generation or the generation after that shouldn't have any bad effects.
right. And I think they mostly studied that in the Jews after World War II. Like the
That's
ones
so
that
crazy that you. That's fucking wild. You said that in the Torah. It actually says that I will visit. I show grace and I'm slow to anger, but I will show. I will visit the iniquity of the parents upon the children until the second or third generation. So that's fucking crazy, because I knew that from a study from rats. I was watching Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they were talking, and they had another doctor on there, and they were talking about that. So that's insane that they studied the Jews for that, and like it's based in like that's just wild as fuck.
it's real, yeah. Epigenetic changes get passed on in the genome, right? So that's important to note. But the other one, I wanted to get to this: the K selection theory, or the K reproductive strategy is like wolves, right? So you think about a low number of offspring, high parental investment, right? You don't just like spray and pray. You actually have a small number of offspring, and you really put a lot of effort into raising them. And so humans have both, and you can think about it in it's the old trope about the stripper, right? Comes from a bad family, didn't have a dad around, got beaten, alcoholic mom. Like those people all of a sudden become super promiscuous at a young age, and what's happening is that epigenetic switch is actually kicking on, man. So this stuff is real. So we got to think about when we're talking about intuitions and like, these feelings that pull us forward, like I'm not saying there's no validity to them. I'm not saying ignore them, but I
Right.
think we have to be skeptical about those because we have to check ourselves. Like, what's
For
actually
sure.
driving this here? Like, where is this coming from? Is it really just an evolved thing, and it exists in my body, in my
For sure.
brain, because it's helping me survive and reproduce? And the interesting thing is, people oftentimes think about that in a singular context. Like, I'm out in the jungle and I have to be aware of predators and I have to find food and I have to, like, not really, because when you start talking about human beings, you're talking about social cohesion, right? There's a lot of social
Have to.
stuff that's
Have to.
overlaid on top of that, that evolutionarily, for example, it's very sophisticated. Female human beings are sexually selective. Most apes aren't. Most female apes will mate with any male regardless,
Yeah,
right?
that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and female humans are sexually selective, and so they get to pick. And so there's a whole
It's not like
bunch.
they're the only animals that are sexual. Like other animals are
No,
sexual.
no, no. I'm talking about apes. Yeah, other
Oh,
animals. Yeah, but most of the time, females just go into estrus and they mate with any male. Not any male.
I mean,
They're
Tom, Dick, and
signaling.
Harry.
There's sometimes there's like these special dances, and sometimes there's these physical characteristics they look for, right? But
Okay.
ultimately, apes are our closest relatives, and it's important to note that female humans are sexually selective. They're the ones who pick the mates, and there's a bunch of societal and cultural things that get laid on top of that
I
drive the choices of these females, right? So it's not just like killing bears and feeding your
yes,
family and avoiding predators. Like, evolution programmed a bunch of other cultural stuff into us, and we're oftentimes not aware of it at all. And so i'm
agreed.
i'm
Agreed.
always
Now,
super
here's
careful
the
with my
thing.
intuitions.
Here's the thing, because I've been on. Like I said, I thought I really I can't just jump into this. I really try to look into this stuff too, right? And so you bring up a great point. What if everything that we think is magical is all completely physical, bodily based processes that we can define, right? And my finding for that was number one, and this kind of goes into learning thing, right? Heisenberg's uncertainty principle shows that there is a fundamental wall for information. There's a fundamental like barrier where you can literally only learn so much at any given time about one thing. Um, and two, there are lots of really good scientific backed research that shows that consciousness is not simply a physical bodily based thing. That maybe at best there is a portion of consciousness that relies on the brain. I feel like the brain is maybe a transceiver to a frequency, but lots of research, good research, shows that consciousness is not local and the universe isn't local, and there's something that exists outside of our purely bodily processes that leads to this. Either it's emergent or it's a separate thing in itself.
Okay, you said a lot there. So let me back up. How does the Heisenberg uncertainty principle apply to like higher order levels of analysis, like knowledge production, right? Because I think Heisenberg uncertainty principle is around like it claims that you cannot know the exact position and speed
And
of a
momentum, right?
yeah. So I get that.
So,
So like perfect knowledge, of course. Like
right.
we talked about that earlier. Like, there's always this mediation layer between objective reality and our senses and our instruments. Like, there's going to be some level of inaccuracy, and that's fine, right? So how does that matter when we're talking about questions of
I say
God
that
or
because the fabric of our reality seems to be very buried in the extremely small and the extremely infinitesimal. And when we're looking at those things, in order to fully, so they say that if we were able to know the position and momentum of every atom in the universe at just one moment, we'd be able to predict the entire rest of it, right? We basically have knowledge over the entire universe itself. But that knowledge itself is impossible. Like, we cannot learn that, right? When you try to measure things and you try to get the most basic information about them, where they are, where they're going, you cannot get that information. And I say that because if in our reality there's something, then at least to me, if in our reality there's something encoded where you cannot learn basic facts about a single object, then that shows that there must be something that cuts off information itself. There's some sort of filter to information itself as it comes to us, in my opinion.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's an extrapolation for sure, right? Because I mean, even when we're talking about quantum physics, none of this is proven, right? All right, so it's an extrapolation of okay, if we can, and it kind of gets into kabbalistic things too, right? Where it's like if we can make a connection between the big and the small, right? We can say the information is shared between these things, then that same thing should carry all the way down. These themes should carry up and down as well with everything that's connected in the system. And I think that also kind of goes into a little bit of like information theory as well and stuff like that. But that I kind of say that to say that that would show why maybe there's a portion of God that we can't know. There's a portion of reality itself that we can't know. There's a portion of, just when we try to understand what is this, what is life, what are we, there might be an actual rule in the universe that prevents us from fully knowing in this form.
I think that is a very fair hypothesis, and I don't think there's anybody out there that is rigorous who's going to claim that we can obtain perfect knowledge. But the question is, why does it matter? And maybe the bigger question is, why does God matter? Like the concept of God, like why should we care?
In my opinion, life sucks without it. Like without them, life.
Okay, why?
And from what, so there's personal things, and then there's I guess maybe anecdotal or maybe objective. But in my personal experience, and from people that people, you can go and speak to people that tell you that when they didn't have or pursue God in their life was much worse. Things were worse. They didn't like it. And when they did pursue God and when they did have some connection with them, things got a lot better in their lives. I'm one of them people. I don't even think my life was bad, but I know my life definitely got better. And I know that God definitely spoke to me. And it's one of them things where it's like, we humans on this life and in this earth, we toil so much, and I think a lot of things are set up in our lives to where we're like, damn, how can this get a little bit better? How can this get a little bit better? And that kind of goes into our conversation we had in DMs, where even if you're questioning, you're not fully sure if God's real or not, a lot of these religious practices are just simply good mental health practices. They just make you feel good. They just give you a break. They just allow you to offload. It to me, I remember when I really first started, when people would thank me for, I would finish a project. People were, really happy. I was all glory to God, and I meant it, and I really meant it. I remember thinking, I don't feel any pressure I don't. I'm still performing at like my peak levels and stuff, but I don't feel any pressure because I feel like I'm being guided. I feel like God is taking care of this for me and God's watching out for me. And even if God forbid, I'm not even gonna say that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, even if that's not the case, the mental effect is well worth it, I think.
You might be right, and so I'm becoming more and more convinced that religion has positive utility. Yeah, we were DMing about this, right?
Yeah.
I think that there's value in it, and frankly, I've been considering going back to church, even though I'm an atheist.
Hey man,
Right?
hey,
Right?
I got a synagogue for you, bro.
Yeah. So
I
so
got
and so that tells you how valuable I actually think it might be. The sense of community,
yes.
and even if I don't believe
You might be able to find you a fancy lady down there.
I don't. My wife would not like that, man. Like that would not be a good thing. So, I think that there's probably utility there. We might even have hard coded, some software that is a God program that we've
Right,
evolved.
exactly.
And like I said, it may have just been better evolutionarily for us as a community to coalesce around a religious belief and a God belief. Even if it's social cohesion and keeping our tribe together
Exactly.
and defining us versus the other.
Right.
Like
And
I can think
there's
of a bunch of
there's
reasons.
actual power and effect in shared belief,
Definitely.
goals, direction. There's real effects in that,
100%. So
Some
for
people say
example,
it's
like
God. Some people, point to science.
yeah, so this right here is example. So this is one of our team. We do hoodies at work, right?
Right.
And stickers and T-shirts and all this stuff. But we have logos for our team and a bunch of stuff. And we talk about it intentionally. It's intentional tribalism. Like we are having this shared identity, right? That's what we're
Yes.
establishing, right? And we have a culture on our team, and we do this intentionally. And I think that religion does a little bit of that. And I think it's probably evolved some purpose too. I've thought a lot about this, and I think the concept of abolition of sin, right? I think it's maybe important because I think there are some things that human beings do that we all agree are so egregious that it's like you can't come back from, without this concept
Yes.
of like a transcendent redeemer that can take care of your sins or whatever it is, like regardless if it's true or not, like it might have been evolutionarily advantageous
To have
to not like. I mean, also some religions just killed these people. They just straight up stone them, and like that's a whole other thing. But you having this concept of like here's this irredeemable act, and then here's some religious.
that's
thing.
actually amazing to say. Like, what if hope is an evolution, like an evolutionary mechanism? What if it was advantageous to the continuance of a species to have hope in something bigger than them?
It's definitely
Yeah.
plausible, and the benefit I'm getting to this, like the benefit might be, particularly when we were in the early stages of development, like having that extra member on the team, right? Another extra, like, and you might even be able to treat him like a bitch for a while. You'd be like, look, dude, you fucked up, and yeah, you got forgived by whatever.
It seemed like every tribe, every group was like, God helped us win that, right?
Which is another evidence in my column, like maybe God isn't really existing here, but that's a whole other story.
Well, God will be everybody's God. If he...
Well, that's the thing, man. Is like there's all these different gods, and everyone's like I go to India for work, and you see like they have like village specific gods, like
Yeah.
there's a bajillion different gods, and like I think everyone's trying to figure this out, but to my point, like it might just be evolutionarily hard coded at us because it's better for us, and I'm open to that, right? And I think there was a time. Sorry, real quick. I think there's a time in my sort of Reddit atheist phase when I was a total dick, where like I was totally shut down to the concept of God or religion. I was very down on it, and like the older I get and the wiser I get, the more I think I made a mistake there. And I think that I think you just have to look around, right? Like you've seen the decline in religion in the West, right? And I think at that same time, you've seen just a destruction in society. We've had the rise of a lot of really negative things, with a bunch of societal problems because we don't have that shared common narrative around a God. I really think that, like, Nietzsche said it best. It's like, hey, God is dead. And the follow-up piece to that was, and there won't be enough water in the world to wash the blood off our hands. Like he predicted the Soviet Union. He predicted the 20th century with incredible accuracy. And he said it not as to gloat. He said it kind of like, this is really bad, guys. This is going to get very, very ugly. And it did. And so, like, I don't know what to make of it, man. Like I've had deep psychedelic experiences to the point where really open. You've been there, man. Like you get really confronted, with some real shit, and you all of a sudden you got no words to describe it. You're trying to process it. You don't know exactly what you encountered, but it's I don't know, dude. Like psychedelics for me is almost like the universe letting you in on a big secret.
Yeah.
Like when you're deep in a peak of a trip, and all of a sudden, like it's almost like like reality revealing itself to you, like a different layer that you weren't aware of. And you're like, holy crap! Like this is a whole other thing. But at the same time, I come back and I was like, I was also on drugs.
One thing that like really hit home for me that it hit me early in my search was like, a lot of cultures are very firm that some being beyond us intervene. And I mean, we got descriptions, we got people like dying about it. I mean, we got a lot of people that are extremely 100% yes, a being that is greater than humans exists, and they help us from time to time, at least. So that in itself, at least I'm like, hey, at least aliens exist, right?
Maybe. I know you and I differ on that because the jury's still out for me, man. I know all this stuff's been popping off with the drones and all this UAP type of stuff, and
You're never going. If you don't believe it now, if you don't believe it now, you're gonna have an alien actually like appear on camera. Like that's the only thing that's gonna get you.
nah, I'm not that rigid with it, but there's just so many other potential explanations for it. You know, it's like the advanced tech explanation seems to be the most plausible. We could have. I hear Eric Weinstein talk about this all the time because he believes in UAPs. I don't think he believes in aliens. Maybe like it's
I mean,
still out.
the advanced tech explanation is interdimensional technology.
It could be though.
That's, that's not a human.
Here's what we know: the United States government has put bans on basic science on certain areas at certain times throughout our history.
Where? Okay, you mean in general?
Yeah. So they could clearly we could have had a breakthrough that exposed interdimensional travel, or have a gravitational propulsion. So there's some sort of physics that could have been unlocked, where we all of a sudden got massive, tactical advantage over everyone else in the world. And you can say, like, this is secret as shit, y'all. Like, you are going to your grave, and we're going to leverage this for the United States government. I mean, we've seen this. We used to have I remember growing up when the first stealth bombers came out, and it was all these UFO sightings, right? And then all of a sudden it came out, it was just stealth bombers, right? So it could be something similar. And you have Bob Lazar's story, whether you believe that or not. Like, there's a bunch of things that could happen or couldn't happen. Like, we don't know exactly, but there's something going on. I think we can all at this point agree.
My
something's going on.
I think my thing is this: is like, do you believe that humans are like Earth has the only life like in the universe?
That's the Fermi paradox. That's a hard question.
It's like no, like it's like damn near impossible.
Yeah, because if the same laws of physics govern the entire cosmos,
right,
and life evolved here, somewhere else it has to have evolved.
Look at other planets. Other planets' geology looks like Earth. When you look at when they got pictures of Mars, this shit look like Earth mountains, but just nothing there. So, like you said, if the physics and the light, come on. So, number one, let's just, if we were to even just assume that life exists, we know that we have theories for how you could do interdimensional travel and how you could travel very fast. We just can't do it yet. All we have to do to believe in aliens is take the next step and be like, well, what if there was not only life somewhere else, but they were more advanced than humans? Oh my God!
But wait. There's another important piece here too. I get it. Like maybe they solved all the mysteries of the cosmos and they're way ahead of us. But that's a big feat, right? I think it is. I really do. And also, you think about the amount of time they would have had to evolve to do that. Like, we don't even know if maybe we're the first or we're towards the front end. And
the solar system's 5 billion years old. We have 200,000 years of history.
Yeah, for sure. And it's tough to tell, but also it just may be an insurmountable problem. Like, faster than the speed of light travel, that just might be an insurmountable problem. And the distances might be too great, separating the different pools of life throughout the universe. Like, who the hell knows, man?
Well, no, you can fold gravity and then you can move faster than light.
I don't even know what that means, dude.
You can it's space-time. Space-time is a fabric. You can manipulate the fabric of space-time, and then you don't have to go actually faster than light, but you are moving faster than light once you fold.
That's theoretical, though. That's a theoretical.
That's what I'm saying. We know how we got the software. That's humans' thing, right? Humans always got our software is always ahead. But the hardware, we don't know how to do that shit.
Well, that's like the difference between theoretical physics and experimental physics. Actually putting it in the real world, that's a whole other endeavor, man. That's a hard problem from an engineering perspective.
Part of it is capitalism. I'm gonna be real. Part of it is because people are like, no, that's my dirt. No, you can't have that dirt. That's my goal. Well, bro, if we just work together, if we work together, a lot of this shit wouldn't even be problems. We'd have nuclear fusion. So we wouldn't have any energy production, concerns. We'd probably be able to colonize other planets. So if you want to have a white only planet, you could probably go fucking do that. A lot of our
hey, don't be implying that I want a white only planet, dude.
That was for the people in New Hampshire.
Oh damn! Shots fired. My God, Jeremy Kaufman, are you listening?
Hey, he probably be like, yo, I'd love to go to a planet where he'd be like, only a certain type of person can come to this planet. Hey, there's like a billion planets out here. You could go fucking do that if we all just work together for like a little bit.
That's the caveat, though, man. Like trying to get people to invest all their time and resources into a project like that with no guaranteed return. That's where capitalism has the advantage. I would say, like that's just me, though.
No, I mean, look, it's like, look, we've gone this far with science. Do y'all not believe? Do y'all not believe in what we can do yet? If you look at like the exponential growth of like human advancement, like it's gone crazy in like the last 200 years. You don't think we can just keep doing that?
Well, here's where I'm going to go hippie socialist on you, man. I'm going to surprise you. I'm like, what's the fucking hurry, man? Maybe we could just chill and enjoy the reality that we have now without trying to get off planet like Elon. Maybe we could just be like, you know what? This shit is pretty great. Look around. You've been on a really great trip outside
Honestly,
and looking at nature, and you're like, well, like
bro.
it's like it's giving this giant show to you, like this incredible. Like if you go to the Sphere in Las Vegas, but make that times like a million,
Dude, yes.
and you're just beholding nature, and you're like, this is fucking amazing. Why are you working so hard? Why are you trying to?
Bro, here's the thing. Look, I'm a real libertarian. I don't want to go with those niggas. I don't want to. I want them to leave. I want them to go. I stop fucking up our planet. Go fuck us somewhere else. I agree. I think we got everything. God said we got everything right here. I think we got, like you said, bro. You ever
Maybe calm down a little bit.
You ever go outside, smoke weed by a lake?
I've done that before.
Man, you can't tell me ain't no real concept of heaven. That should be better than sex.
Yeah. So maybe that's why I don't care so much, dude. Maybe I don't care about aliens so much. I'm trying to live my life.
But I care about aliens because I'm like, if aliens are here, they've been watching us, and they're like, all right, they're almost ready for something. They're almost ready. So I'm like, oh shit, let's sweep up the place, guys. Let's not make this shit a pigsty. And then y'all niggas want to like vote for Donald Trump and shit instead of Chase Oliver. But they were.
Oh, you're a Chase fan, huh?
Oh damn, yeah, I voted for him. I was in DC and voted for him.
Cool, man. I mean, luckily I believe it doesn't matter anyway, so I'm not personally offended by it. But boy, I agree a little bit with a lot of the libertarian.
I'm gonna be real. I did think that Chase was going to perform better in the national race than what I did.
He got beaten by RFK. He wasn't even running.
Yeah, it was bad. Hey, I'll take my L. I'm a grown ass man.
No, it's not your L. You weren't running.
I supported him. I donated money to him. I supported him. I voted for. I spent money to help him. That's my L. I'm not a part of the team. That's my L too.
All right. Well, you want to take it. I'm not going to stop you from taking your L, dude.
I got you because I feel like everybody. Because you know what happened after Donald Trump got elected. Oh, fuck all the third party voters. Meanwhile, turns out these niggas can't do math because even if you took all the third party votes and gave them to Kamala, she still would have fucking lost. So.
Yeah, I don't play that game of like you won or lost us this election. You third party. I fuck that. I don't
right, because the reality is, I probably wouldn't have voted for neither one of them if Chase wasn't voting. Like, I mean, if there wasn't a third party, I wouldn't have voted for Trump, or I couldn't. My thing is, and I feel like you can get with this. My thing is, when you go to vote, you're going there and you're saying, I give this person permission to have this power, and I'm signing off on their ability and my belief in them. That's
so you're lying.
Exactly. Like you're giving them your consent, pretty much. That's what voting is.
Well, hold on. That's not what that means, though. You said something really important. This is one of the reasons I don't vote, because you're saying I give my consent to this third party. I'm giving them a right that I don't have myself. And I want them to execute it against somebody else. I want them to use force that I can't apply.
That's why I vote for a libertarian. That's why I vote for libertarian.
Libertarians are just like a milder version of that shit. Like, man. No, if the world was weird and Chase got elected, he would join the government and he would take a salary that was stolen from other people, and he would enforce laws against other people using violence. Like that would happen.
You haven't met Chase, have you? You haven't
I,
met him.
dude, I don't need to meet Chase. I know the ring of power, right? So
This is no. Number one, you need to have him on your show. Chase is one. He lives in Atlanta. That's why I know him. Like he's one of the first people I met in the libertarian. This dude is one of the most serious niggas about libertarian philosophy. I'm talking about he's so serious that like he'll be around other people like politicians and shit. He won't drop it. Like he'll still be like, yo, as libertarians, we gotta do this, that. He won't drop. That's his personality.
maybe. And by the way, I think Chase got a raw deal. I think a lot of people
Oh, for sure.
opposed him for some aesthetic reasons, right?
Oh.
There's a lot of homophobia
I
out
asked
there.
people-
There's a lot.
I asked people straight up in DC. Did you vote for Chase? Did you not vote for Chase because he's gay? I had lots of people, and I respect them for saying that. They said, "Hey, look, I live in Kentucky. It's a hard sell. I can't sell a gay dude to Kentucky." Other people saying, I don't got a problem with him being gay. I don't want to be represented by, because that was my thing. I'm like, I think a lot of y'all not, because if it's just about politics and philosophy, this dude one of the most libertarian people you can get by the book. It's gotta be something else, and I'd rather you just admit that you don't like him because he's gay than like be a coward, you know?
Yeah, I don't think it's just that. I think there's some people that maybe it's just that. But let me give you the objective view or my subjective view actually is that like it's that. It was his shitty view on COVID when that stuff was going on. He made a bunch of bullshit statements. And he's not saying use force against people. I get it. Technically,
yes,
he's towing the line. But when you start adding up all these data points and things and stupid shit, like he said, like, oh well, yeah, the government should pay for sex changes for prisoners.
Did he actually say that?
He 100% said that. I watched that clip, and it's so here's the point is like
that was crazy. That was wild. They should have said that one.
Yeah, totally. So I just think generally he was a bad candidate, and he put people off, not in one dimension, but like across a whole bunch of dimensions. And he could say, like, I'm more accurately representing the non-aggression principle than the other candidates running. But the two candidates that were running were fucking horrible.
Yes,
they weren't even close. So it's
you really didn't even have to. Not that you didn't have to have an argument, but like you said, the two people you're running against are so awful. Kamala Harris seems to have been surrounded by the League of Evil. Republicans and Democrats.
Whoa! Be careful. You might be white adjacent. Do you have some internalized self-hatred of your race, man? Like I want to check on you, bro.
First of all, listen, all people are gods, right? We're black and white, right? Means that anybody is liable to be like a piece of shit, to be in the wrong way. It's whatever, right? And Kamala said, "Yes, listen, I'll admit it. Yeah, bro." In 2017, whatever, 2016 when she was running, they did say she was black. And in 2020, and this time when she ran, they did say she was Indian. Oh man, yeah, that happened. You see, that's what I'm saying. People need to be honest about.
We're talking politics, man. It's just
yes.
there's nothing honest about politics. It's insane.
If people were honest, if they stopped coming from, and that's life. That's not even back into philosophy. If you come from a place of compromise and you go out to the world, you're gonna be compromised. You gotta come if you actually want solution, which is what people are saying they're in politics for. I know what a lot of them are really in there for, but if you're saying you're in there for politics and you're there for solutions, come solution oriented. Come compromise. Come not compromise oriented. Come ready to listen. Come ready to go back and forth and talk. Like people come to politics ready to, as something like you would say, purely enact their will, purely step on. Lots of people that voted Democrat just didn't like Donald Trump or didn't like the people that voted for Donald Trump. Probably couldn't name a single fucking one of his policies on God.
Well, it's not about policy. This is a great thing I've noticed about Trump and even the version too, because there's a lot of people got suckered really bad into believing that he changed. I heard so much. Oh, he got shot. He almost died. He's turned over a new leaf. And I was like, I was like, maybe.
Bro, I'm like,
maybe.
I'm like, bro, everybody for like 2 months straight, everybody was like, I just spoke to Donald Trump, and he's saying that if he wins, he's gonna give me exactly what I asked for.
Yeah, it's silly, man, and to be fair, I really try to be fair to people. I really do. I'm kind of a dick sometimes, but like to Angela McArdle and the Dave Smiths and the people that really got behind, Trump. These people aren't stupid, right? I think that they looked at the situation and they honestly, because if you're, let's be real, Chase was not going to win. We knew that from the beginning.
No,
It wasn't going to happen.
that's a false. See, you starting out with a false premise, bro.
No,
Yeah.
let's have a real premise. Let's have a real. First
Do
of
we
all,
believe
I gotta tell you something. The Libertarian Party hasn't done shit ever, 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 and they're not going to do anything ever, ever, ever. And that's just a reality of the situation. We live in a two-party duopoly. That's what we live in.
Do we believe
Sorry.
in human action or no? Do
We
we
are-
believe that people can change things or no?
Yes.
Yes, and this is my big thing. This is my big thing to Dave, because Dave had that same exact argument, right? It was, look, Chase isn't going to win. Donald Trump is the better choice out of Kamala. I'm not gonna lie. Again, I'm not a hater. I'll probably tell someone at the end of the day. I was like, Donald Trump is like putting like a baby in charge of like nuclear weapons, and Kamala Harris is like putting like an evil person in charge of nuclear weapons. So like, what
Evil
do you think
baby.
is more dangerous? Like, probably the evil person. The baby is definitely gonna call. Like, there's no good answers. There's no good answers, right? My thing is that's a false premise, because if you legitimately believe that there's a point in time where humans are going to act and create change, damn, you don't believe in these niggas to check a box?
Well, wait. No. I agree with you, but the problem. This is the problem I'm seeing, where I keep getting tethered to reality. Is that I've learned, and I'm a long-term libertarian. I've learned Americans don't like liberty. That's a fact.
You think that?
No,
That's
I
what
know that.
I feel like, bro.
All the evidence that I see with all the people that I talk to, and I talk to a lot of people, and all of the attention that I pay to what people say, polls, the communal discourse, like people generally, they give it lip service. Like the Americans, typically the righties with the fucking cut off sleeves and the eagle T-shirt they got at Walmart that says like freedom or death or some bullshit.
Man, I'll put up at a job site, saw a dude with a tread on me sticker on his car. I was like, bro, what's up? You like libertarianism? He was like, oh, I just like the
Dude, yeah, and this is a prime example. You call out something great. So you'll see oftentimes, like I'm in Tennessee. I'm not too far from you. And
Yeah.
I see these motherfuckers that got the come and take it sticker right next to the Blue Lives Matter sticker. Like, yeah, it's that's what I'm saying, man. It's a slogan. Like when you talk about liberty, it's like that indoctrination we talked about. We hear these terms in elementary school. This is what, America was founded on liberty and individual rights and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And people regurgitate it. They'll say it. But when you actually poke them on individual issues, like, hey, man, should we get rid of Social Security? People are like, fuck no. No, I want my check. Give me my check, right? So when the rubber meets the road, and that's the only thing that matters, people don't give a shit about liberty. They give a shit about themselves. Look at COVID. Dude, we just went through COVID. I'm sorry, man. We just went through.
Listen. Okay,
we ran the experiment, and everybody failed.
So I was before this. I was laying in bed, right? So I love bringing libertarian ideas to what we would call normies, like people that just whatever, right? People that probably got good hearts, good souls, but they're not really into it like that, right? I'm laying in bed with this woman, right? So we're both at our most vulnerable, and I'm playing a video from Case Oliver, and he's talking about eliminating Social Security eventually and stuff like that. And she's like, "Oh, that sounds like he's a dickhead." If you just tell someone, I want to remove Social Security, yes, I do think that actually does make you sound like a dickhead. I was like, well, he's not just going to remove Social Security, because that was also part of his video. I was like, he's also going to do X, Y, Z, and it's going to facilitate this, and it's going to allow more money. You're going to have more money to invest, and blah, 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 blah. And this is a very smart woman. I respect her so much. She was like, I don't know. It was then that I realized, right then and there, I realized, I was like, bro, you know what I think? And this might have something to do with the Libertarian Party. I realized that the Libertarian Party is a group of like political and economic nerds. And
Autistic nerds.
the shit we're talking about, it is not absorbed. They're not even trying to hear. Once we're like, oh, you can understand what we're doing, read this book. That's like they do that shit. So I'm like, okay, so part of what's wrong with libertarian, like the party here in the US is that for lack of a better term, or lack of a better word, these elections are popularity contests. And to your point, to my point, they're nerds. We need someone that's cool that's going to be able to say this shit. We need to somehow package this shit in a cool rapping. Because it's not that they don't fuck with it. It's not that they don't like the ideas, right?
Oh, I disagree. So hard.
I've had so many of these conversations. Bro, I'll be talking to leftists. And you know, I'm pretty like center libertarian, like honest, like I'm like a real mutualist, bro. And I be saying the exact same shit. And it's when the shit is, bro, because you gotta think, in order to explain what you want to do as a libertarian and why, there's like a whole like a 30-minute backstory to explain the backdrop of the US, of the world, of the things we see. That conversation has to be accepted first, and then you start, oh, so you mean I had talking to my mom. When I was like I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, and I wasn't voting for the Democrat. The 2016, I was like, I'm never voting for him. I've never voted for a Democrat for U.S. president. My mom was like, the Democrats are for the poor folks. Like that's what they tell you. They say before they win, we're gonna do this and this and that. Have you ever noticed that they never do it? Have you ever noticed that? And they keep saying, "Oh, we couldn't do it because of this. We could do that." Have you ever noticed that these excuses go on for decades?
It's branding. It's all it is.
Exactly.
And
people are caught. We gotta understand. People are actually caught. People, and it's not because they're bad people, and it's not because they're stupid. Because we were both caught at some point in time by this. They're caught, and if the explanation, the conversation was had, and it wasn't, see what ends up happening. Libertarians get to, or people that are knowledgeable get to be, well, you just gotta read this book. You don't know enough, or you're stupid. You're a socialist. You don't fucking know, right? When you start doing that, you close off the conversation.
Yeah, I think
they're different.
Dude, I think you nailed it. Like there's so much. I think there's so much ego caught up in a lot with libertarians. I think you get this moment where you watch a Ron Paul video and you discover libertarianism, then you start reading some books, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, you're fucking stupid. I'm smarter than you. Do you know anything about Austrian economics? You know who Ludwig van Mises is? Like, I see that type of attitude, and that is off-putting as hell, man. Like,
yes.
Like people, and all they want to do is go on Twitter and dunk on leftists and not even have a real conversation,
Nope.
not even expose their ideas to like maybe an alternate view and have a good faith conversation and maybe bridge some gaps. They want to just get tribal.
But people get like you, where you like they're jaded because you're like, bro, the libertarians ain't gonna do shit. We're never gonna do shit. We ain't did shit. People are jaded and they get angry, and then you get a Jeremy Kaufman.
No, dude. I mean, in some cases you're right, but like I don't think I'm jaded, right? So I'm just objectively looking at reality. In America, I mean, just went through COVID. They rejected liberty en masse, hardcore, up, down, left, right. There was very.
You acting like we had a vote on liberty during the COVID. That's what you acting like, bro.
No. It wasn't because I don't think political action is the answer. First of all, like that's another piece of it too. I don't think that your political action is getting us to liberty. That's not a vehicle for liberty. It's the antithesis of liberty. It's force. It's state violence. That's all it is. And having an election to pick who gets to abuse you, that's not the way to liberty, right? And I also believe that it's a ground up situation. Like you could like tomorrow. Like I'm an anarchist, but people ask me like if you could just wave your magic wand and get rid of the government tomorrow. I said,
no, God,
no, that's insane.
Yeah, right.
Unless there's an intentional acceptance of the concept of liberty, non-aggression principle, ethical behavior towards other people, and like free market ideals.
From a systemic standpoint, from a moral standpoint, from an education standpoint, from a resource, we're not ready for that.
For sure, which is why I think voting libertarian is stupid, or voting period is stupid, because like people aren't ready for it.
Think about it. You're like, no, I wouldn't go from 0 to 100. How do you think we make those incremental steps?
Not at
You
the
just
ballot box.
want it.
No, it's not the ballot box,
It's
dude. Like,
both. Okay, I agree. I agree. It's not just the ballot box. Yes, you have to do acts, but I think that's part of the formula.
maybe I could be wrong, dude. Like, this is just my perspective. I was some dipshit on the internet, man. But I just don't. It seems to me it's like that whole fucking for virginity meme. Like you're not voting. Your way to freedom. There's I really do believe that the ballot box is just the suggestion
Yeah,
box of slaves. That's straight up
eventually,
what it
yes,
is.
we eventually there comes a point where I think that it's almost like the capitalistic view of eventually it won't even be efficient to have a government. Eventually, it'll breed itself out because humans simply work together way more. We know this, right? Me and you know this, right? Because we know the theory, we know the philosophy, we know that in reality humans left to laissez-faire sort of actions when everyone's held to that and no one's allowed to oppress anybody or anything like that, right? Things work way, 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 way better. In fact, it's almost self-organizing. I think there's going to come a point where it's almost like, people don't fucking drive around Model Ts anymore for fun, unless it's for fun, right? We have a more efficient thing, and we stuck with that.
Maybe, and I don't know how it's going to evolve, man. Like I've got to the point where, like I said, I'm focusing on improving myself and trying to improve the world by having conversations like this, get
Where it starts.
information out there. Let's get a heterodox view into people's brains, let them chew on it a little bit, make the ideas of liberty attractive, and address some common complaints that people have. The stupid Mo roads arguments, like we'd never have roads. What like all this stupid bullshit? Like we got to have, and I agree to your point. Like I think we need like a figure, not this is the figure, but like a Joe Rogan, somebody to think people broadly like that's a cool guy, man, really popular dude,
Right.
and he kind of is advancing the cause of liberty a little bit by bringing on Dave Smith and he used to have like Stefan Molyneux on his show. Like he has some really hardcore libertarian people and caps and stuff on his show. And so he's done a lot, but it's still he himself hasn't really landed anywhere. He was always kind of like, I'm this progressive dude, I'm this guy on the left, and then he's sort of slid to the right. And now he's doing this MAGA thing. It's like, but you get my point. Like,
Yeah,
I think
right.
to move the culture, you do need somebody who can concisely package the message and make sense
Right.
of it and be articulate about it and be cool. Like,
And in the spirit of our theory of decentralization, it really should be one person. We really should try to make as many cool libertarians as possible, but that would require enforcing some sort of moral standard, which
I
a
don't know
lot
about
of
that, but,
people
but
are
here's one
allergic
thing I know. Here's one thing I know is that you got to stop fucking attacking each other, man. Like you're right. Like you need to have like a coalition of different voices with different perspectives. And guess what? You can be on the different spectrum of libertarian and statist. Like you can be. There's a space for people that annoy folks, like the redheaded libertarian. There's
Yes,
space.
there is,
It's like
unfortunately.
because God, people are they're so obtuse. You start to look at like I got differences with the chick, right? Like fine, but she's also doing her thing. She's on the platform. She's in engagement bait and rage bait, and I see what she's doing, man. And some stuff she says is true, and it's cringe, and I don't like it, and that's fine. But guess what? The time to which Josie and I have got a legitimate fundamental agreement or a disagreement that matters in the real world, like if the government has shrunk to that point where her and I our disagreements matter, I'm a happy guy. I'm a really happy
You know
person.
what?
So
People say that, but your biggest problem is your biggest problem. You know what I'm saying?
what do you
That's
mean?
why humans tend to work.
What do you mean your biggest problem is your biggest problem? What do you mean?
Your biggest problem at the time, at least the way humans seem to be geared, it seems to be that that's something. No matter what it is, right? A billionaire, I don't know, they didn't get their sandwich made right. That's a big ass problem to that dude, right? It's because that's his like only real problem that he's dealing with. That's as big as whatever big problem you got going on. Pretty much, just because our mind just like, we glom on to the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. I just like to get back to my point, man. Like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with libertarians and why they have to fight over the dumbest shit all the time. Like, this is why I think a lot of the message doesn't land. Is that it's not about having the best theories here's my ethical theory, the non-aggression principle, and here's the sound money theory, and here's the Austrian economics, and here's the theory of credit and the business cycle. Like, nobody gives a shit about that stuff, but they're looking at you as a group, and it's like, I watched you guys on Twitter stab each other in the fucking neck over a minor disagreement about who's more pure. And they say, they recoil. They're like, I don't want anything to do with these people. They're all a bunch of insane autists. Like, that's what people get. And that's why I think the LP is going to do nothing ever, because we are not. I don't think I'm that much included in this, but a bunch of crazy autists that are kind of like dickheads to each other.
Bro, I never thought about that. And people were like, bro, you guys jump down each other's throats over minor disagreement. It's crazy because, like, I remember a couple years ago, I'll be like, bro, I feel like everybody that disagreed, like both spectrums, like Jeremy Kaufman and what's the dude, Josh Smith. From Josh Smith to Nick Sword, right? I feel like right there, that's the full band. I'm like, bro, y'all actually agree on like most things. Like, y'all agree on like 70% of things. And you guys hate each other. You hate each other more than you hate like leftists, right wingers. I'm like, that's what I'm saying about your biggest problem. You're in proximity to this thing. Libertarians get into beefs with each other. They are more vicious than anything I see leveled in a politician. No, I'm not saying attack a politician or nothing, but the smoke they give each other is way, way deeper than they give other people.
Yeah, and it's ineffectual, and it's to no good use, right? Like, do you really think you're doing anything good for your movement when you're just looking like an asshole online, arguing over things that the regular person has no clue about?
Don't even know what Austrian economics is.
Completely. And believe me, I get the inclination. Like, I see people post cringe stuff, and I'm like, oh, like what's that Being Libertarian page on Twitter? Like, I see them post this like conservative Republican stuff, and everyone's like, what are you even doing, man? So I get the inclination, but at the same time, this is where I go back to like this thought that like we are indoctrinated with a bunch of bullshit, and it's in our brains, and people are on a different part of the journey. And sometimes people just get stuck. Like this dude somehow, like, and I think that there's a certain type of personality that attracts this. Is like the person that comes up with that Republican mindset. They kind of worship the Constitution, and the founding fathers are almost like mini apostles. And and I think that it maps on neatly, right? I think a lot of this the Christians in particular, like the fundamentalist Christians in America, they have the holy text. There's a Bible, and then you got the Constitution. You got your prophets, and like all this stuff maps on.
So good. Trump actually dead ass sold a Bible with the Constitution attached to it.
Yeah, dude. And so I think there's something there, and I think that type of person ends up getting stuck. As I said, they watch a couple of YouTube videos on Ron Paul, they decide they're a libertarian, and they go and they go 5%. I was
gonna say, it'd be crazy how they're half stepping over these, because if they fully read the Bible, they wouldn't be doing this, and if they fully got into philosophy, they also wouldn't be supporting Donald Trump. But because they've chosen to just put a finger in every pie, like they're just stuck at this weird. And I'll tell you another thing. I agree that we're indoctrinated, and on the capitalism, part of that is money, because a lot of these people, the red libertarian, be a libertarian, shit. I've seen Jeremy do. I see a lot of people. They're doing it for that X check.
Boy, that's a real problem too. Let me talk about that for a second, man, because this is interesting. So I remember back when Jack still owned, or was the CEO of Twitter.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this, and I always try to tell people back in those days, and also in other platforms, that like, look, you're not the customer. People complain like they're the customer. You are the product that's being sold. Your eyeballs, and people get that confused. And I was kind of thinking at the time, like, man, it'd be great if we were just paying customers to use a platform to say what we want. And I think that is a good model. And I think Elon fucked up a little bit by doing Elon bucks. So as soon as he put out the X checks, right? Like, I get it. He's trying to attract all these content creators, but there's these unintended consequences in economics. When you start incentivizing something, you're going to get more of it, right? And so that's when you started seeing your Twitter feed is full of describe this band in 3 words and all these fucking, engagement bait
Crazy,
bullshit
yeah.
and rage bait bullshit. And it's really polluted the
And
platform.
it's crazy because when he was like, "Oh, I want a website that's gonna be like a public square. You can say anything." A lot of us tried to be like, "Bro, that site already exists. It's called 4chan." And lots of it is terrible, and you don't want that to happen. And he's like, no, no, and sure enough, he's like, well, you know what? I decided to make the algorithm itself start depressing and pushing posts that I like, that I personally think matter and is cool. And fuck what y'all gotta say. I'll just make it so nobody can see what you're saying.
Yeah, that was a weird evolution, man. And it's been
No, he's a dumbass, bro.
it's been really disappointing. Well, I don't know if he's a dumbass. I think calling Elon a dumbass is a big stretch, but
like,
oh,
that's like a crazy. That's an obvious misstep. No. Also, Elon Musk like plays Diablo as like a gamer. You really think like just letting anybody just say whatever and do whatever the fuck they want on the internet is a good idea? Like, come on, bro.
yeah, I mean,
you want to make money off of this? You want to tax off of this too? Come on now.
yeah, dude, and it's been sad because I think at least and this is where I kind of had a little bit of regret. I look back and it's like, yeah, the censorship sucked, and if we could just remove that and just go back to when people could just say what they wanted to on the platform without the monetary incentives, I think we'd be in a better spot. Because
then Elon won't make any money, and that's the real problem with it. Elon's not making any money if that happens.
But to be fair, this is another alternate view. Is he definitely moved the needle, right? So even though he's kind of fucking up X and his platform's getting a little messed up, Zuckerberg, right? Also, now we're.
I do like community notes.
Competition is a good thing, man.
It is.
And so I think what you're going to have is that now that I think the danger was that he was the only platform that allowed any sort of free speech, right? Particularly around these sensitive topics. Well, hold on, no. Yeah, I know that's TM free speech, but hold on. Relative to what it was, right, and relative to other platforms. So, for example, Danny Jones just had a podcast where he had Callie Means and he had Jack Cruz on there and some other doctor talking about topics you're not allowed to talk about. He had to literally bleep all references to the jab, right? And he had to bleep all No. He had to remove her name from the title of the podcast.
That's crazy.
Because by just putting her name in, the video
YouTube don't play about that shit.
Disappeared, right? So this is what I'm saying.
YouTube don't play about that shit.
So at X, there's none of that. Like you can post roughly anything you want about the whole C-19 craziness that happened, and I get it. Free speech, TM, and it's always changing.
No,
it's getting worse. Yeah. But the fact that the concern I had was that like you had one platform that was doing that, and it seems now the competitors are like they're losing market share. Now they're going to change, and so I think the competition is good. It's been overall a good thing, but I'm definitely not a person that's banging the table being like X is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and we got free speech. Yay! That's not the case.
No, and I don't think it's so weird because there's always going to be people that are like fanboys. And I never thought. To me, Elon Musk is like the world's biggest like forum admin. Like he dead ass acts like does he not act like a forum administrator?
Oh,
like a lot of people like on Twitter like are like, why is he doing this? I'm like, you've never been on a forum because this is exactly how moderators are. Like they make random changes because they want to. They just do shit. They just talk. They make sure that you can see them for some reason. Like he just acts like a forum admin. I don't know. But like competition is. We do agree. I think when people like watch me and you talk, like I don't feel like if we was to be like, we're not gonna say what type of product like libertarian we are. What are we based on what we're talking about? It'd be very confusing because like we switch places like a lot in our philosophies, in our debates and stuff like that. Because I agree that competition is almost always transformative and almost always helps lead to that efficient line that life and information I feel like is trying to go to. So I definitely do want more competition, more openness in the internet space. Even if I disagree with a lot of what Elon's done, there's a lot of shit that's like on X that is really cool and that he did change that, I do like. I actually like that I can see the tweets of people that block me. Cause I'll be seeing people that had beef with me like years ago. I'm like, oh damn, so that's where they went.
Yeah, dude. I think this is the strength and weakness of Elon at the same time. Is his ability to just be like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do this thing," whatever. Like even buying Twitter.
Yeah,
Like you look at the tweet thread with that originated like should I buy the
right.
platform? And he's like,
There,
well,
bro.
no. Somebody suggested he buys it, and he's like, well, how much is it? And then like 3 months later, he's buying the platform, right? Like his impulsiveness, like it's a double edged sword. I think there's a positive. I think a lot of times these platforms and me being in big tech, like I see the way this works under the covers, and I see all the people
Yeah,
involved in the machine of making decisions, and it's paralyzing, and it moves slow, it gets ossified, it gets and having somebody just be like, fuck it, do it, you move faster, but also you're going to see more wilds. It's like Bitcoin. It's like these wild swings. Like ultimately, it's a better thing over time, but you're going to have a lot of ups and downs, man. Like, I
yeah,
think it's going to take, but at least he's open to criticism. Like he'll take the
bro.
feedback when people bitch, and so that's all you can ask for, really.
Bro, on the topic of like what it's like in Twitter internally, let me tell you this, bro. I was recently applying for jobs. I got one out, but Twitter was hiring. I guess they got some new shit in Atlanta, right? Bro, these people was hiring for like a network engineer, and you had to work like 7 days a week, 12 hours, and it was only
Yeah.
it was 100K, bro, for 12 hours, bro, for 7 days.
Whoa.
Yes, bro. I'm like, hell, fuck no. Are you serious, dude? Come on, for 7 12s. A
Nope.
hundred dollars
Nope.
for a network engineer. Tripping. Like, so I know it's a sweatshop in that bitch.
For sure, for sure. And I think there's a lot of people. I mean, network engineer is one thing, but I think a lot of the engineers that are doing the AI stuff, the people that are doing deep platform work, I think they're getting paid a little bit more. But I also think that the people that he kept, that people that chose to stay, are there because they believe in the product and they think they're doing something good for the world, and that they're
They got a visa.
that might be true as well. But I think that these folks, there's a certain type of person, and I actually manage a person that's like this, a software dev on my team,
Yeah.
and they're like, I don't even want to get promoted. Like I'm working on interesting things. It scratches the itch in my brain as an autist, and he's legitimately on the spectrum. And he's like, just let me sit at home in my basement, code away, and solve your problems for you, and just leave me alone. And I think there's a lot of engineers that are like that. Like I'm working
Yeah.
on this interesting problem, and I'm deep in the tech space, and I think that it was welcome. A certain number of people in that org, it was very, very welcome when Elon's like, we're cutting out all these bullshit PMs that are posting on
Yeah.
TikTok about their latte in the cafeteria. You seen those like day at the office videos from
Dude,
Twitter?
I
But
do hate that shit, bro. I do hate that shit, bro.
and
He mad as fuck to
they're
see, bro.
they're
I'm in
serious.
here busting 12 hours.
Yeah, dude, it's like there's very serious engineers in the world that are just energized by doing this like deeply technical work, and that's what they want to do. And
See,
so
that's why I don't want to be a manager. I love being an engineer. I do not want to be a manager. Like being an engineer is fucking lit, bro.
I would agree, and that's the way the
Yeah.
world's. And this is an interesting thing too about the Elon effect is that even at my company and a bunch of other big tech companies, I'm seeing this shift. They're flattening their organization and to get rid of middle managers. So they get a way more ratio of manager to, IC to manager, and so we're
Yeah.
getting more engineering heavy. I think that's the Elon effect, and it's really
We don't,
going
bro.
through
Is
the.
it, bro? As an engineer myself, it might be just because I'm an engineer. I'm like, bro, I don't know if I need a PM. No, no, let me stop. Let me stop. I mean, PMs are good. PMs are great. But I mean, a lot of times, if there's a technical thing, the PM coming to me anyway.
They
No,
just like to hold meetings and take notes, man.
no,
Like,
don't do that. Don't see. Look, they be working, but I know some good PMs. That's been
some, but I tell you what, like it's almost like a meme in the industry. It's like like TPMs, technical program managers are just like, yep, note takers.
Oh yeah,
They
man.
bring the right people in the room, have a meeting, take notes, and waste everyone's time. Like most of
Right.
this stuff could be done ad hoc on Slack or some shit, man. Like
Yeah.
I anyway.
Like, what are you gonna do? Generally, explain to me what I need to do while I go do the deep dive. Like, I could do.
Yeah.
I didn't need you to waste an hour of my time with this stupid meeting to do that, bro.
Well, tech got soft, dude. Tech got really, really soft, particularly when COVID happened. It was like the bar got lowered.
Man, that shit was fire, bro. Man, remote work everywhere, nigga. Everybody hiring shit, nigga. That shit was fire.
Yeah, the money printer was going. All this just this Fed cash was flowing in, infinite hiring, and then you didn't have to do shit. The technical bar was on the floor. These people were not serious individuals, and now we end up with these bloated organizations with just terrible people in them that can't execute, and everyone's like, well,
no, they was there before then.
no, it got way worse. In my company, at least, I can tell you, if the standard hire on a scale of 1 to 10 was like a 6, we went down to like a 2. There was people that I'm looking at in meetings, and I would look at my tenured colleagues and be like, what is this person doing? Like, they don't even.
How is that possible? I hear from recruiters and shit. Oh, I'm getting 400 resumes every time I post a job. So
well, now because think about the layoffs. Google, Amazon,
that's
Meta,
right. Yeah.
Across the board, everyone did these massive layoffs, so it flooded the market with talent. And then all these companies are doing the return to office thing. You're not going to work remote anymore. You're forced back in the office, and it's really.
It's a hybrid. The market's like a hybrid. They ain't fucking with that 5 days remote no more.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of reasons for it, but ultimately, I think, at least in my company, it's a forced layoff without the bad press associated with the layoff. It's like, we found a way to cut some jobs by saying, you either come into this office over here. We know you live in Vermont, but you're moving to California. And if you don't show up, we're going to consider you as resigned.
Right.
And you don't have to pay any severance. You don't have to. It's like, oh, you just quit. Like this is what this is, man. And it was needed. Believe me, it was really needed. But boy, that COVID era, man.
I think we also needed that era where the workers had the power. Like now, it's kind of balancing out, and I even hear now there's kind of coming back to an employee market. But I do think we needed that little portion where, boy, like I said, boy, that money was fucking flowing. The jobs was there, boy. That was a good time for making money.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve heroin that everybody was injected. But guess what? Sometime you gotta go to rehab after that.
Yeah, well, it's crazy because everybody knew. Everybody's like, "Bro, we gonna have to pay these back, boy. This shit ain't gonna be good." But man, we was living it up, bro. We was.
Yeah, it's fun to run up the credit card, but man, when that bill becomes due, shit.
That shit hurt. That shit did hurt when it crashed down. But shit, we had our fun. Shit.
Man, well, hey, dude, like I'm getting up against a hard stop, so I got to wrap it up. And it was a fun conversation. We've got to do this again, man. I love
talking to you, bro. Cause we just flow, and like I said, we switch positions, so it's like a real. Don't nobody be having real debates no more, where they actually take different sides and they actually like are not like I fucking hate you. Actually, like I actually don't want you to exist.
We'll save that for next time. We'll switch it up next time. We'll do some role play. It'd be fun.
Oh no, bro! I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, wait. Tell people where to find you, man.
Oh, for sure, man. You can find me at B Mutualist, man. I rap SoundCloud Black Mutualist, TikTok Black Mutualist, BlackMutualist. Yeah, bro. Thank you so much, man. And I hope bro, your setup is great. Your sound is great. Everything's great. You look fucking professional, bro.
Thank you. I'm trying, man. I'm really trying. The first time you came by, it looked like ass. So I'm glad we're
what did they look like? Shit.
All right, bro. Check you later, man. Take
it easy. For sure, bro.